Welcome back to Turn Down for What, your source for EV news and updates. Like and subscribe for more content like this episode. Let's dive on in. Welcome back to Turn Down for What. Another day,
Another episode.
let's go. I said on the last episode that we would post last Tuesday, and we didn't, but we're here. So it's only been 2 weeks since our last episode. We're improving our cadence here. We're trying to get back in the swing of it. We have a great, exciting episode for everybody today. We have the privilege of having a special guest, which we'll introduce in just a moment. But we had obviously the holiday week, and Jesse and I had some extra news coming out of Georgia, and for our company that just led to us being real crazy last week. But we are here. We want to talk about all of it. And obviously hope everybody that's listening had a great Thanksgiving. I personally got to enjoy some downtime with the family. I was going to come into work on Friday, and then I just said, you know what, screw it. And I played board games with my kids for 8 hours straight, which, they're not always going to be at the age that they want to play the game of life for 8 hours straight, but got to enjoy that. Chris, how was your Thanksgiving?
Man, it was awesome. Spent it with the kids, had the cousins over. My sister-in-law came over. Went and started the day with the movie Wicked. And then had Thanksgiving dinner with the family. Brought up my Christmas lights, which if anybody's ever seen, I start with Halloween. That's kind of where I start my decorations for the house. And then from there, I kind of get a little crazy and like to go a little crazy with like an archway of lights and that kind of thing. And then I then transition over to the Christmas season, which is my favorite. So the whole house is lit up, and bring out like the lit up Christmas tree and the North Pole, and there's a Santa countdown timer. And then we're right down the block from a elementary school. So that way, when the kids start walking to school, they can literally every day walk and see how many days to Christmas. And I got the inflatables up and the lights, and I can set like Christmas music. Usually I use like Michael Bublé, something like that, right? And the lights can dance around and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I transitioned all of that stuff over for the holidays. So that was my Thanksgiving, man. Mr. Steven, what did you do for the holidays, man? Were you working CEOs like out there, or did you take a breath, man?
Yeah, spend it with family. It's everything we do it for family, right? So I think it's important to take those times. I always say you don't get another quarter to put in the machine at the end of the game, right? So you got to take the opportunities when they happen. And I'm a big fan of using holiday, and birthdays and stuff as a reason to get people together. Like, even as I get older, I just turned 40, and as I get older, I don't really care to celebrate birthdays, except for using it as an excuse to make everybody get together and just try to laugh. And so we had a wicked Thanksgiving, and spent a lot of time with family. So I look forward to it every single year.
Did you guys have snow up there? Was it were you up in New York?
No, Toronto.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, I was looking the other day and looking around, and I thought, man, this isn't normal, but I got a snow shovel in my bedroom. That's how much snow we got. I'm an hour north of Toronto, and where I live, my primary residence, and it's like, yeah, we got 3.5 feet, and I was shoveling off decks and stuff like that. So we got our fair share of it already.
Josh, are you getting snow in East Tennessee? You guys have I don't know what that's like out there on the hollers. I just want an excuse to use hollers, man. It's my favorite word.
We get snow, but we don't get it quite yet. There's a few occasions where we'll get it now, but most of the times it's February through April. Like you start seeing like that mainly. But it's just been very cold. And then last night we could have gotten snow, but it was just warm enough to where it's just really nasty rain. And so it's that time of year, but snow comes. We're not like New York and the North where you see feet of snow. We have all the drivers losing their minds when we have about half an inch to an inch on the ground. So yes, we do get snow, but on it, like our big snows are 6 inches. So it's nothing like New York where they live with 6 inches of snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, here you really got to be out in like Tahoe. If you get up into the Tahoe, the Sierra Nevadas, you're going to see some snow. But Bay Area proper, man, I'm not going to see any snow whatsoever in my neck of the woods at all. For those who don't know, we are joined today by Steven Rossi. He is the CEO of Worksport. They are the maker of made in the USA tonneau covers and so much more, which is part of what we're going to discover today. That's how I kind of came to know the brand. For those who haven't seen my videos with my Lightning, when I first was going to make my biggest road trip with the family a couple of years ago, we were going to do around this time of year, we were going to do a big trip, our first holiday trip to Disneyland. And we had always wanted to do it during this time to see all the holiday lights and everything. So we wanted to go right here in this time between Thanksgiving and Christmas to see all the lights, but not in the middle of the Christmas rush. And the big part was how am I going to keep all the luggage and everything out of the rain? Because even though we have the frunk, which is great in the Lightning, the luggage for a family of 4 was not all going to fit in the frunk for a week down in Disneyland and Legoland, which is down near San Diego. So I started researching what kind of tonneau cover am I going to get? And, I like to, as much as possible, buy things made in America. My solar panels are all made in America. I do as much as I can support that kind of manufacturing. And I came across Worksport. And ever since then, I've just been a big supporter. And the company's been really great with their outreach to me. And so it's really cool here on this Black Friday with some of the expansion I've seen from them to welcome Steven on and just to kind of highlight some of what they've been doing. And so thanks for joining us, man. It's really exciting to have you on.
Thanks
talk about how you guys got to be where you are. I heard your Black Friday was amazing, man. Talk about that.
Yeah, we shattered sales records. So yeah, I mean, like Worksport designs and manufactures tonneau covers for pickup trucks. It's a big market. It's growing. More and more people are getting behind the wheels of like little trucks. I call them quarter-ton trucks, like Ford Mavericks. Tacomas could be considered a quarter-ton. Colorado Canyons on the GM side. You got to think about automakers that are putting billions of dollars in development to enter in the pickup truck. So Volkswagen and the Scout. We got Kia and their EV truck coming out, or their pickup truck coming out. The Amarok by Volkswagen's coming out. So like the little trucks are very popular now. More people are getting out of like CRVs and more into little trucks, quarter tons, and of course there's still the F-150, Silverado Sierra full size. So we're in a big and growing market. We're kind of where people are shifting towards. Kind of the pickup truck allows people to go anywhere and do anything. We make tonneau covers. We started the business in 2011 as a designer. So just would design in offshore manufacturing. And man, I'll tell you, I never had a good experience doing that at all. Like I spent all of the months doing that thinking, how do I stop doing this? So we were able to, find investors after a number of years in closer to 2020 around COVID time to really invest in the dream that we could do this all here. So where we land at today is we are made in America. So I call bronze, silver, gold. They call them like their Steve-isms. Bronze is like a foreign company that sells its foreign product in America. So it's foreign made product. And what happens there is that money's sucked out of the economy, right? It's foreign manufacturers, so it's not creating jobs. It takes our consumer dollars and it vacuums it back into whatever country the product is owned in or manufactured in. So we have that a lot with, like, in the automotive is in the battery generator space is EcoFlow. EcoFlow is a big battery, or Jackery, big battery company, but they're owned by Chinese and they're manufactured in China. So when you check out for $1,000, your $1,000 gets vacuumed into that side of the world, and it never really returns. Then there's silver. Walmart, domestically owned, a lot of imported product. And then I wasn't happy with it. So I didn't want bronze. I wasn't doing bronze at all. Bronze is awful to me. Silver is kind of where I was when I started the business. But gold is make it in America by Americans using the goalposts of 100%. Like the resin for the paint for your product comes from U.S. soil. And right now, where we stand with Worksport is we're 93% domestically sourced raw goods. I mean, down to the raw. We're talking down to the ore of the aluminum, down to the resin for the paint. So we
Which
make
is so
tonneau
hard to
covers.
do.
It's impossible. You'll find vendors like aluminum extruders can be sneaky, where they're like, yeah, it's made in America. Made lowercase m equals this ore is extruded in America. So since the cost is born in America, they consider it made in America. Where's that ore coming from? Where is that ore coming from? Where is that aluminum, that raw powder? It's like an orange powder. Where does that orange dirt get turned into aluminum? And if it's not from somewhere in this landmass, we don't want it.
Is it that
And
nuanced? You have to pay attention to if it says made in America with a lowercase m or a uppercase m, and that
no,
makes okay.
it's a
we
Steven
deal
zone.
with the same thing. I mean, you see companies call solar panels made in America, and they literally reframe it in the United States and call it an American-made solar panel when it's imported from China. And it's just like
Assembled.
there's so many different ways that you look at it. And for us with EV chargers, like the grants that we're dealing with require a certain level of Buy America compliance. And we've always tried to exceed that, similar to what you're doing, Steven. But what you find is it's very difficult to get truly 100% of all parts and equipment. But I mean, you're at 93, we're at like mid 80s. But that's where like trying to get as much of the American sourced product it's a challenge, but also like if you find it, it's rewarding.
Well, yeah, if you find it, it's rewarding. And we, so on our aluminum, we do aluminum panels, and we use an alloy called 3105. Alloy 3105 is a cost-effective alloy, but I could guarantee you it's made in America because it uses recycled material as its primary source. So at least I know, like,
That's
a
really
scrap yard, a scrap yard somewhere in the Northeast, shredded apart, old Buick rims, aluminum rims, and you know what I mean? Like, at least I know, like, but when you talk to a vendor, there's like made in America where it's like, oh, it cost us more to unload the container than the value of the goods on the container. So there's an argument to be made that it's made in America because there's more cost endured for the product here. But no, it's like, where's that raw material coming from? And usually it's a big, I don't know, actually. It's hard getting those answers. So we police that with vigor.
So you're saying I've got an old Lincoln on the back of my Ford, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So yeah, it could be. So but at the end of the day, it's American hands using American sourced raw goods that are going into our product, and we tighten up that supply chain really well because when there's a problem, like it's an hour flight for me from our Buffalo factory to Michigan where the aluminum extrusion's done, and I'm wringing someone's neck and I'm coming back home with the proper aluminum extrusion within spec. But meanwhile, when you extrude out of Turkey or China, those guys, they tend to grow 9 arms real quick and point like, oh, that happened there, and this is not my fault. And you're flying, 17 hours and talking to people that don't speak English, and it's very difficult to maintain quality. So, like, Chris, you got a cover, and God bless you, you're happy with it. But if you had a problem, we'd be able to like tell you exactly what went wrong within minutes.
So you've got your aluminum coming out of Michigan. You've got some manufacturing there in New York. Mm-hmm. And then tell us where you are today, because that's yet another location that you're in today.
Yeah. So in Ozarks, Missouri, big investment in the Midwest is where we're heading for our solar panel tonneau cover manufacturing, the Solis. So we're really excited about that. So I'm here in our new little kind of boardroom they just built here, and this is where we're starting. It's a small operation. It's only it's like 1/10 of the size. So in Buffalo, we got 250,000 square feet. This is like 20 or 30,000 square feet, but we're going to continue to grow. But this is where we're starting to get all the items to build our solar tonneau covers. We let me say that differently. We're building solar tonneau covers, but we're ramping up.
Yeah, and I think it's the details that matter. At least for me, man. I love the stories. Anybody that's kind of followed along with the podcast and the different videos that I do, and it's the reasons that I was really drawn to Josh and Jesse is it's about taking things that are a commodity, right? How many tonneau covers are out there? How many trucks are owned in the American marketplace? How do you make a decision on these? And to me, it's very much the story and kind of what drew me, and what's great as I see, Josh and Jesse roll out their Power Up America stations is they are EV owners, EV buyers. They are from Tennessee, for Tennessee. They are in the South. And it shows in the product they make. They're out there with pull-through stations. They're using Chempower chargers that are made in America. And it comes through in the design and in the way that the user experience is. And I get that same feel when you've got American hands making these things in the factories of New York and coming out of aluminum made out of Michigan. And then you're not just sitting on them. I mean, I started with an AL3, moved up to an AL4. And then this week, you guys launched the Solis. And talk about that, man, because you're taking this. Now, for a battery truck like mine, what you're producing isn't going to get me very far, but you're talking about the marketplace of hundreds of thousands of trucks, millions of trucks. If you go outside of Ford, you're talking about Chevy, GMC. I've seen a bunch of them that you guys are supporting on your website. Like, how did you get from, like, what's the mad craziness in your head that thought, I'm going to take like a commodity, like a tonneau cover, and I'm going to energize it? Like, how did you get there? What was the moment that sparked for you?
Yeah. Good question. First off, talking about, I heard, so you're one of you in Tennessee. Speaking about made in America, I guess Josh, you're in Tennessee. Our painting line is in Tennessee, in Jackson. So, DNA almost in every state. We have a paint line that does our painting, our ceramic painting in Jackson, and we have one near Philly in Pennsylvania too. So we try to touch every state in terms of how we make our product. But anyway, it was many moons ago, and I love to be able to I'd love to be able to take the credit for the solar tonneau cover. But I was driving home one day, years and years ago. My dad called me and he said, "Hey, you're making these tonneau covers." And it's the simplest thought. He's like, why don't you bolt some solar panels on them? And I was like, you're crazy. But it was this little acorn he had kind of planted in my mind, thinking about it. And then, with my background, being kind of like an amateur engineer, I didn't go to school for it, but I have, dozens of patents, personally. I've always loved kind of fiddling with things. So I started kind of looking at it. And I thought, these trucks are a big canvas. The bed is a 5x6 canvas. Some trucks are even bigger, 5x8 canvas. So when I started really looking at the solar tonneau cover side of things, there's a delineation. There's like a go, no go zone, and the delineation is meaningfulness of energy. So you've got what do we have? Like these like solar panel cell phone chargers. So, you guys have let's just say I got the new, a big Samsung folding phone now, right? I mean, this thing's pretty power hungry. If I get a little 1 watt solar panel charger for my phone, there's no meaningfulness of energy provided there in any real sense, in my opinion. Now, there's right and wrong, and then there's your opinion and my opinion. That's my opinion. If somebody's like, no, I love mine. Okay, cool. So with me, it's are we going to produce enough power for it to actually matter to someone that's not just looking for the gimmicky thing? So we built one, plywood, bubblegum tape, literally we built one. And man, we were putting out 350, 400. We built an 8-foot long Chev bed. We were putting out in certain, peak instances, we were putting out near 800 watts. And 800 watts, in front of me, I got probably a 55-inch flat screen TV. I think that TV may consume 50 watts. So, we were talking about tailgating. A solar tonneau cover can power 10 TVs. That's a very meaningful amount of energy. So when we looked at that, it was just, me and my dad's idea kind of ruminating in my brain. I started doing the math, and I'm like, man, this is very meaningful. So that's where it kind of took shape.
Yeah, I wanted to pull up, I could the website that I've got here and kind of show what it looks like on the back. And I'm gonna forgive you guys for using a Chevy, but that's all right. And it's but you can see it looks exactly like a tonneau cover, and it's just got these 3 Now, are these like, I'm guessing these are like the flexible type of
Mhm.
panels that have been laid onto there, and then this just flips. Does this flip all the way to the glass like the AL4, or is this more like the AL3?
It doesn't flip up all the way to the glass. I mean, those solar panels are so encapsulated in different membranes. It took us a lot of time to find the right solar partner. And you know, as much as I love to say we're made in America, believe it or not, Josh, it seems like you're really heavily involved in solar, you know, side of manufacturing, or solar supply chain. We couldn't find anything capital M made in America that was anywhere close to the panels that we're getting. These panels come not from they come from the continent of Asia. They come from India, but this factory is actually the panel manufacturer that makes the solar cells that go on the space station. So there's some strong accolades here. But
That's pretty great.
yeah, these panels are fantastic. They're just so encapsulated in membranes that keep them weather resistant and UV resistant, which is the most important part. So they're a highly flexible, heavy panel. So they add probably about 20, 30 pounds to the cover. But you know, by the time you try to get that rotated up, it's just too much weight. We're looking at it, but right now we don't want to sacrifice this array quality.
There's a proper F-150. Now we're talking.
Now we're cooking.
Forward, baby.
Yeah, right.
So with the product, obviously you get the energy generated. What is your current solution as a purchaser? What is your current solution? Where does that energy go?
It took us a long time to get. So voltage is very difficult to control on solar panel arrays when you have 3 large arrays like that. So you know, some of our arrays are nearing 200 watts per section. So when you're looking at series and parallel and voltage, sometimes we're getting into like, you know, 200 volts, which is very difficult. We're able to get our configuration done. This took us years to get a manufacturer to even be willing to play ball. That's the hard part. We're able to get everything between, let's call it 40 and 60 volts net out. And 60 volts to MC4 connectors, you can connect that to darn near anything. So if you got a Jackery or a Yeti or an Anchor power bank, or God willing, our power bank, our COR coming out very soon, you're injecting 300 to 600 watts of energy into charging, you know, mobile battery banks. But we have MC4 connectors, so you let your mind kind of go wherever it wants to. You can connect them to obviously a charge controller. The charge controller can go to 12-volt batteries. It can go to, you know, you're towing your fishing boat and you're charging your trolling motor battery array in advance. It could go as far as you want. It's the most universal. It's just 2 MC4 connectors that come off the cover elegantly that allow you to do whatever you want with them, and then they integrate with our, of course, our battery system.
The first thing I thought of when I saw that, sorry I'm late, is you know, I'm going to have a whole bank of Milwaukee tools in the back, and I'm at a job site, and I don't have power at that job site, and you don't want to run a generator because some job sites in a lot of areas you're not allowed to anymore. So that system could be on the back, just charging your tools as you go. And that would be extremely helpful for any contractor that's out there that doesn't have an EV truck. For example, this could go on the back of a regular F-150, and you could have any tool you want back there. And that's enough power to get that to where it needs to be. That's impressive.
Yeah, the core is really what we try to develop. And it's funny, Jesse, nice to meet you. It's funny that you mentioned that, because one of my case studies is the job site. And I didn't know that you're not allowed to have a generator. So I built, you know, I was fortunate enough to buy a plot of land and take a big risk. And I built my own house about 8 years ago. And the utility comes, and I don't know how it is across the world or different, like this is in Canada at the time. But the utility comes and gives you one plug. They give you one plug coming out of the ground, and they put a little hut over it, and they say, you got one 15 amp circuit to build this whole damn house with. And I've never seen grown men almost murder each other. Like someone, you know, unplug my thing, and there's a power bar, and it's bolted to a piece of plywood, and it's tripping the fuse. It's a nightmare. So, you know, this guy shows up on job site. He's producing 500 watts, 400 watts of energy. He's got our core battery system there, and he's running his whole drywall crew, and he's just loving life. And he doesn't have to run out extension cords. The plumber didn't cut it by accident, step on his, you know. So it's the job site that's critical, and with the infrastructure and building that's happening, it's going to continue to grow. It's a big opportunity. And Gas generators, like I was in New York City the other day, and I was standing, First and Fifth, like right in Manhattan, and they had like all those hot dog carts or whatever, and they all have the Honda generators running, and you stand there for 5 minutes, and you're pretty green, in terms of sucking in that carbon, the CO2. It's pretty nasty.
Yeah, I wanted to just kind of bring up, you were talking about the core battery that you guys are going to be coming out with. This is just kind of shows a bit of what that looks like. And I think it's really smart that you made this universal. So this can go to your system. This can go to any other battery system. The thing that comes to my mind is the number of people that boondock or take with an RV and have solar and battery on their RV and mobile trailers already. And so in that kind of scenario, when they're towing their trailer with their truck, and I assume this would be like Ford, Chevy, GMC, those would be your full size. Is that where you guys are starting, Steve?
Yep. Ford, Chevy, and Dodge, and F-150s. The Ram, is number one. The number one truck, full size, 6.5, 5.5 foot bed trucks.
So you could take and just essentially add this. So a lot of people have solar on the top of their campers, and they're feeding into a battery, and this would just be another array that, as you're sitting there out there, it's big out here in California, out in the Mojave Desert, people that are just out in Arizona, Nevada. There's so much out here in the West. I don't know how big it is out there in the East or the South, Josh, but I know out here there's so many people that are just have the nomad life, the van life, the RV lifestyle, and it is constant out here, going everywhere from Montana to Idaho, Nevada, Colorado, all the way through. You'll see folks with their solar panels on top of their RVs, their fifth wheels, all that kind of stuff. They're out in the dunes, and so it's just another compliment to that. And so I also compliment you guys for not making like a proprietary connector that only works with something you developed, because that's great that it can add on to something somebody already has. Or they can, grab this system that you guys are doing. It's really nicely done.
Yeah, it was a conversation in the round table. We have an Apple fanatic in the business, and they were like, "Hey, like make it the Worksport ecosystem, like proprietary connectors." And I'm like, "No, it's MC4s. You could buy adapters from MC4s to all the different types on Amazon for $2 or $5 for whatever you need." And it's like you're going to buy this array. It's easy to remove from the truck, so you could set it up, as like a floor array. We're next year. What you're seeing right now is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what we're going to do. Next year, we're going to be looking at easel mounts, wall mounts, roof mounts, universal applications, and we're going to be looking at modular home power wall systems as well, where our batteries integrate in. But this is the start, and we want to make it so it's usable by everybody.
Well, and I
it's
will
great
also
because
mention, go ahead, Josh.
When you have like a Lightning, you have an onboard power bank, but so many people don't have that, electric capacity. And so you're bringing that electric capacity, basically the functionality to run job sites and charge other solutions with just the energy that's available while your truck's sitting out in the sun. And such a practical utilization. And to me, my biggest thing is like, how do you make, like the question you asked, how do you make enough energy to make it substantial? But that bed space is the largest flat space of the truck as far as usable space, and it's a very practical way to get a good solid energy generation.
Yeah.
So no, go ahead.
All I was going to say is our core is the only of its kind. If you guys particularly, or your listeners and viewers might be familiar with like the battery generators out there. The battery generators out there leave a lot to the imagination, where they're just like a sealed unit. I call it just a dumb box of batteries. So they're like, 50-pound box of batteries. It's 100%. When it's dead, now you got to plug it in for 8 hours, and it's a paperweight, or 4 hours, or whatever it is. Our system, our core system, is the only one that has like Milwaukee or DeWalt offers modular batteries. So you can have 6 kilowatts in the bed of your truck, and one or two batteries is charging at all times off the solar while you're using the other battery. So it's like our inverter is separate from our batteries. You slide that depleted battery out, put it in your bed, or to charge from any wall outlet or any solar array, not just ours. So it's all universal, interchangeable. And you can have in the bed of your truck, you can have from our system alone, let's say 3 kilowatts on each side on a 6-foot bed. So you can have 6 kilowatts of energy back there. That's a significant amount of energy.
Yeah, and what I was going to mention there is when you look at the Hurricane Helene that went through our area a while ago now, it gives an opportunity when you're in the mountains or you're on a beach and a hurricane goes through that way and you don't have power for a while. 6 kilowatts is a huge amount of power, and it gives you the ability to charge your devices. It gives you the ability to get heaters or a refrigerator for that matter going, and where you can keep food where it needs to be. So you have that part of it, that it is something that can be used for security. It can be used to basically save your life if you're in one of those areas, even without it being attached to, say, an EV. Just by itself would have helped so many people in that situation if they could have had it. And then as a practical case, we know that in 2028 in your state there, Chris, of California, you'll no longer be able to use a gas generator in order to create power. So this gives an option there to even, have something while you're traveling around. How are you going to charge your, if you have a lawn mowing service, your battery powered lawnmowers, your battery powered, edge trimmers, those are getting much more popular. And that gives you another way to even utilize that system to get that power you need as you're going up and down the road without connecting it to an EV. So I really like the idea that this gives a lot of that ability of using electric, but you don't have to have an EV to have that benefit of the ports or the outlets on your truck. So it's a very, very cool idea, and I really do like it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm an EV owner, so we have an F-150 Lightning within the company. One of the first ones that were delivered in Ontario, Canada, and then we also have a Tesla Model Y. And the only thing that I find challenging with EVs isn't the charge infrastructure, but it's the performance in cold weather, which we get a lot, and how fast range plummets. So if you have an F-150 Lightning and you're in the Northeast and it's cold like it is now, or even I'm in the Midwest right now and it's freezing. If I got to choose between powering my fridge in a power outage or having enough miles to get the heck out of there if I need to, that's a tough decision. So I think that separating plug-in power from turning wheels power is critical, and that's why we've developed our system. And it's also touching back to the point on the landscapers. There's landscape associations national. I didn't know there's like a U.S. National Landscapers Association, and the mandate of that membership is to get rid of all gasoline powered landscaping equipment, and that's going to be fairly taxing in being able to charge these things.
And I will say on that, it's not as much as an environmental impact, which there will be a positive environmental impact. It's because it lasts longer. We got rid of him.
He lost power. He needs to be powered by his COR system.
Well, my point there was that there's a lot of benefits by not having that noise. There's a lot of benefits by having less moving parts that's going to wear out. It's going to, I've had one of these push mowers for a long time now, and they are, very good at what they do. There we go.
Sorry, welcome back.
I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry.
Glitch in the Matrix, man.
Yeah, just like a black screen for a second.
The Josh in the red dress got us,
So I think one of the big things is like for the EV audience, the things that they're going to want to know. And I think I already know the answer, but I want to see what you can share and what you've maybe done around this. As I kind of look at some of the specs as I go down through the website, and we're looking at around 600 watts of power coming off the bed, and I think about everybody with an EV truck wants more range, and so I know that there's an audience out there that will kill me if I don't ask. Have you tried to work with Ford and asked, is there a way to get this power? Which in my brain, I'm just telling myself, even if you could get 3, 4, 5, 6 kilowatt hours into a battery, what are we even talking about? But everybody's going to want to know, is there a way to integrate in any possible way into a future product with Ford or Chevy? Have you even had those conversations? What's that even like, trying to work with an OEM?
We need Martin.
We need Martin.
Martin would do it.
for context, one of our other podcast folks that we do with on our Tech Charged episodes, which are live on Wednesdays, guys. So I'll throw the banner up. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Tech Charged and Bo Family EV. Check them out, please. But yes, our Tech Charged podcast, we have Martin from Martin Rebuilds, also another channel we have. He has taken and done like a range extender, which uses a traditional gas generator, and they have an outlet that works with the J1772 plug, and he's got episodes where he is towing a trailer with a generator on it and range extending when he tows in that way. But the dream would be to have obviously solar panels, but you can see you're using the most amount of coverage of panels on the tonneau cover. It's perfect. The implementation looks great. But let's say if you're out camping, right? You're out camping for a week, you're in the sun, 6 kilowatts a day times 5-6 days. That's not nothing. And it's recharging what you're using at your campsite. So at least you have enough to get back to a charger on your way home. You can feel comfortable running your campsite. You're not going to drain it to zero. There is a use case for being able to help charge your EV in that scenario. Have these conversations been even possible? Like and again, like only 100,000 Lightnings have ever been built. So from a manufacturing aspect, is it even cost effective to even try to make something that interacts with the limited number of trucks that even exist this way?
Yeah, all good questions. So we've been in deep discussions with almost every EV automaker on an inbound basis for a number of years, for probably since 2021 when we launched the product. So we've had every startup EV, manufacturer, which we're much more cautious with these days because the path to commercialization is difficult. Recently, a fairly exciting EV startup that's got some pretty big recognition nationally is in deep meetings. The sweet spot, there's like a few different things that have to happen. So the answer is yes, and I think that integrating our Solis into an EV that will trickle charge the EV, but then also charge a removable battery system. So we're separating plug power, from drive power. I think that's my vision on the vehicle side. To the extent that I could ever, lobby to get that done to a car manufacturer that's willing to listen, I envision a solar array that charges a car once the plug-in power system's full. Let's say you got a 2 kilowatt plug-in power system. It's full now. It's switched over to low voltage charging the EV and getting a few miles there. So there's a few things that I think have to happen. Is number one, the EVs are getting more efficient. My understanding of my limited understanding of like Tesla, for example, the new Model Y versus the old Model Y, it's just a more efficient vehicle and how it moves itself and people. So I think that, battery technology and then efficiency and design is going to be critical. But then more importantly, on the solar side, I'm pretty excited about perovskite and where that can go in terms of the ability to increase irradiance efficiency, throughout the day. Whereas monocrystalline right now is, at a 45, is when it's putting out peak, and all other sun hours are less efficient. That perovskite cell is putting down 20%, 8 hours a day in Arizona. So I think that when we have that intersection of the car maker getting stable, more the truck maker getting stable, with the solar technology becoming stable, which I think is going to be in this, years from now range, let's say like 1 to 5 years, I think we're going to have a very meaningful ability to recharge vehicles. And then I keep lobbying to automakers that, like, the market, like, look at the F-150. You guys own your F-150s. The gas F-150 was like a $30,000 truck pre-COVID. And I don't know what they are now in US dollars, but they're probably close to near double that. In some cases, right? They have all the more endowments, but they're an expensive truck. So people are switching into the Maverick because it's more affordable. It gets you back down to the $30,000. It's all-wheel drive, lots of cabin space, But I keep saying that the perfect truck, like why I like the Scout, why I like some of the other coming EV trucks, is that smaller platform with a longer bed is really where I think the consumers are going to go. Chris, you got an F-150 Lightning, and that's got a 5.5 foot bed. That, in my opinion, is just too small of a bed. Another foot and a half, 6.5. Sorry, A 6-foot bed or a 6.5-foot bed, perfect. 5.5 or the 5-foot, or like even Mavericks with a 4-foot bed. It's not hitting the nail on the head for consumers. So I think that EVs are going to become smaller with bigger beds, and then it'll be more meaningful for charging.
It'll be interesting to see if any of them can integrate somehow, because the other big advantage to integrating, if it ever happens, I don't know if they would just do it with the same standard connector, like in the bed, where you just directly using the standard
MC4.
plug that you already have. If you can just get DC right into the DC, because then you don't have the losses. Because the current system, anytime you have a jackery or a scenario like you'd have with the core system, I'd have to hook up like a
Level
J17 level 1. You'd have
Yeah.
to hook up that kind of scenario, and then you've got your losses. You've got your conversion losses of going from the DC battery, converting to AC, and then your AC back to DC again. And so you're already kind of taking a limited amount of power and losing it a little bit. And it's free power. It's not nothing. And so I'll take whatever free power I can get. But it'd be great to see somehow it get integrated. I'm just it's just a curious thing to wonder what that future will look like. And then you've got some of those trucks coming out like Slate, that's going to be very modular and have a lot of different, but then that's so small. Can you really get any meaningful power out of something so small? So it'll be interesting to see where it goes, man. I'm just excited to see you play with it. I'm excited to see what this thing, when is this? I know you're taking the pre-orders and I know you're taking everything right now, but when are you looking at deliveries? Is this looking like right after New Year's? Is that the time frame for the covers and the batteries?
Yeah, so I mean, we're making Solis covers in this building right now today. I was watching the guys. It's not a huge operation yet. It's going to be like white glove, handful of people. Probably all said and done, we're going to be 10, 15 people making Solis covers. Whereas our New York production lines 120. But it's going to be smaller volume, more white glove service, and we're making them now. But our biggest order or production run of solar panels coming in from India is set here sometime in the next few weeks, and then that's when we're going to really ramp up. So we've been taking orders and we're building, but most of the orders are for F-150s, which is the first set of solar panels we ran out of because that's what we've had the most demand for. We didn't know what solar covers were going to sell, so we got when we started, we were like, we're going to get 10 Chevs, 10 Ford, 10 Dodge, for example, and then now it's like 90% F-150, and then the rest is less. So we had to augment the way we purchase and then make these cells and deal with the voltage issues. And so we're making them. We're taking. It's a weird murky thing. It's like people that follow Worksport are like, it's not a pre-order. It's just we're back ordered on the most common because we didn't know what was going to sell. And we're going to get those panels in a few weeks.
Imagine what it'll be when you actually put an F-150 on the front of your webpage, Steven.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why they picked a Chev.
I'm just giving you crap.
Yeah. But and you mentioned Slate too. Yeah, we're really excited about Slate, and we're always in close communications with most automakers, and Slate's one of them. And we'd like to see what they're thinking and what they're doing. And to answer like the question that a lot of people ask is, what kind of mileage can I see? And you can see 5, 6, 7 miles a day, and it's like, hey, it's free mileage. And it's like, it's also not nothing when the average American drives 30 miles a day, I think, max, or an average. But it's like, like the average person drives fewer miles Monday to Friday these days than they did before. We go out much less. I was just reading articles saying that alcohol sales are down, sports viewership, except for NFL, is down. So people are just doing less. And with that in mind, it's like 5 miles might be all you need every day.
I just think of so many people within my orbit and community of folks that are out at NASCAR events, and they're out camping, and they're out doing these things that are they're powering equipment, they're powering things, they're out at job sites, and as they're doing that and drawing energy, they are simultaneously recharging energy. And so whether that means that they're elongating the day or not necessarily replenishing even 100% of it, but if you're taking and getting 150% of what you originally had, all of that matters. And just it's just exciting to take and make use of the space. And I just really enjoy that you didn't do it in a clunky way. Like, it's very elegantly integrated in the way that you did it. And again, I really appreciate the way that you've made it with the common connectors, because if I'm understanding right, what someone can do is they could take an existing set of equipment they have and throw that battery into the back of their truck today with this cover, and they could have one of your core batteries, one of their existing batteries, this cover, and have this this thing together and make it work. And they could have a modular system of 3 batteries or only 1 battery, and they could move 2 batteries from one truck to a different truck. They could spread it across 3 trucks in their fleet, depending on what they need for that job site or that circumstance. And it's just so smartly thought out. And so I love hearing about that mindset, that you didn't isolate it to only your project, which I think limits it. I think the more open it is like that, I think that's actually better for you.
Yep, I agree. And ours is fully modular. So if you got an RV and you got a solar cover, and you want to integrate into, solar system that you already have in your RV, for example, you can. You don't need. You could buy our batteries, you could buy our solar, or you could buy our entire kit. But you're not limited to one. There's no ecosystem that, like, everything's fully flexible. If you're like, no, I want to use my MPPT, that takes MC4 connectors, go for it. Our voltage is all stated, it's clear. So it's like we're everything that you would need, and we're going to get to much more integration as we continue to develop. But we're also could be just a part of the ingredients to your recipe of clean energy.
That's awesome. Josh, you got anything else before we wrap up? And
No, I think Chris has been an outspoken advocate for Worksport for a while. Some of our we've had several videos that have been posted of Chris reviewing his products, and we would love to continue to spotlight those products, especially the newer ones as they come available, and love to see American-made products. A lot of people and companies have valued profits over people, and it's something that I think the companies that are investing in U.S., whether even if it is a little bit less profitable, it's something that over the long run, it's what we need is less focus on how can we get stuff done the cheapest, and rather how can we do it the best, and that best values American people and American jobs that are created. And that's something that we're doing with our infrastructure, but obviously I greatly respect that you guys are also doing. So it's exciting to see the ability to purchase a cover from somebody that's actually looking at how do we best spotlight the industry and source things that are here. One, it helps with supply chain, but 2, it also helps with logistics and just having a story to tell. And so it's a privilege to be able to spotlight you guys, and to continue to do that through our different offerings. But hope that anybody listening would consider Worksport for their next cover. So.
Yeah, shameless plug. I'm gonna leave a link to my 2 videos for the AL3 and the AL4. I'll leave a link to the Worksport site, so you guys can check out the new Solis and COR systems as well. If Steven, if you want to,
be a discount code below somewhere eventually.
Yeah, I've got a Bow 10 discount code. I don't think it'll work for this one yet. Maybe one day we'll get once you guys have those where you're to that point.
Steven just authorized it. What are you talking about?
Nice. Yeah. I'm looking forward though to getting one of these down the road. And when I don't think we would discount. I'm sure there's no discount on these yet, but yeah, for the more traditional covers, like if you guys are looking for those, my code would still work even for the Chevys and the GMCs and Dodges. So support my channel. And
it won't work for the Dodges. If you're a Dodge, I'm sorry.
Well, Dodges don't work. I'm gonna kill the Dodge. The Dodge owners will be like, I'm not giving you nothing.
Yeah. Well, the sales, Dodge, the Stellantis sales are quite down from where they used to be. So I hope they get everything in order.
It's crazy. You know what the thing is? The Dodge looks great. I love the look. The Dodge looks mean.
There's a dealership up the street from my house. I drive past it. It's got the 1-ton Cummins, single wheel. And I'm like, man, it's so hard not pulling a right in there and just saying, it's coming home with me. It's gorgeous. But the auto, and what's funny is a number of years ago, every vehicle on the road was a Ram half ton. It was like Ram. And it goes in cycles. And now I'm seeing more Chev, but Ford's starting to come back up on top. But the Ram trucks are great. They just they had, I think, some leadership issues.
GMC is the kind of bougie luxury the model, like that's the refined Josh vehicle.
Well, I had a Sierra. I was driving it, Sierra Denali, for a year. I just we had it as a company lease for a year. And the only thing I didn't like about them is it had 7,000 buttons inside. I had no idea what I had no idea what to press to pop down the tailgate or. But there was also in Canadian dollars, like the top of the line GM is like 100 and something, like 140,000. It's like what? It's like
see that's that CEO spec. That's that Josh and Steven CEO.
No. I saw the price tag. I would never pay. Before I started Worksport, just so it's a fun factoid, I used to own a wrecking yard, and when I sold my wrecking yard, I had to close up my license. And when I went to the DMV to close up my license, they said, "You want a tally on how many cars you bought in the years?" I said, "Sure, 165,000 cars." So I've bought 165,000 cars in my life, and as a result, I'm starting to get the love back, but it doesn't do it for me anymore. It's just my favorite vehicle is a Honda Ridgeline. People make fun of me for it. It was it's 2004 or 5 Honda Ridgeline. Sorry, and I love driving that thing.
I mean, the Silverado EV is basically a big Ridgeline, you know?
Yeah, with the big 8-pound, yeah.
Yeah. So
Sorry,
where
anyway.
can folks? No, it's great, man. Where can folks find you guys, Steven? I mean, we'll post this on LinkedIn. We'll have this on YouTube. Will be where folks find this one. We'll have you guys linked on YouTube as well. But what are all the different socials? I think Instagram, TikTok. We've got this live on X, so I know you guys are on there.
Yep. So we're just at Worksport Ltd everywhere. And I'm only on X. I'm on LinkedIn as well. And on X or Twitter, I think I'm Steven Rossi WKSP is our stock ticker. But just follow Worksport. You'll see everything there at Worksport Limited. Worksport Ltd for everything is where you find us.
Awesome, man. Well, before we wrap up, just a reminder, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. We got more great guests coming up. We are trying to get ourselves onto that regular cadence, like Josh was saying. We do have some great news coming from Power Up America still. I want to try to share also, Josh, because I forgot to mention this earlier. You guys got interviewed by Out of Spec Bits by Walter. And then you were mentioned by Misco Electric, and then you guys were mentioned again. I turned the volume on. I don't want to do that. But yeah, you guys were mentioned up again with your Georgia award. So I didn't want to get out of the episode without mentioning that. So be sure to check out of Spec Bits for all the cool news about the Georgia expansion. How many locations were going to Georgia? That, by the way, I love that shot right there, man, of your pull throughs. That is awesome.
Yeah.
How many sites did that ended up being that you were awarded? Was it 4?
So we got 11 sites in Georgia.
11.
Yeah, that are coming online in 2026. We're currently as a team trying to strategize how many we can potentially deploy by June. But in 2026 we'll have 11 different locations across the state coming. We'll talk more about that and expands probably on another episode. But we have a lot of really awesome stuff happening in Georgia, but also several other states coming soon as far as announcements and other locations. But we're up to 23 sites that will be full turnkey, as has been advertised, with the pull through the covers that will be built in 2026. So a tall order for us to deliver in 2026, but our team's prepped and ready to go. But a lot of exciting news coming soon, and just that natural spotlight has started to shine on some of what we're bringing to the table. But we're excited to be able to bring that new iteration of EV charging to the market. First site breaks ground hopefully this week. We
That's
are waiting
for right?
Yeah, we're waiting for the final clearance on our final couple updates with the state of Kentucky. But as soon as we get that, the contractor's already on standby, ready to break ground. So hopefully that site's going to break ground this week, and we'll see that open in February. And then following that, we'll have a lot more sites coming live by mid-year, and then the rest of them hopefully by end of year. So large amount of projects in the pipeline, and a lot of EV charging on the way. So
awesome, man. And then I have my latest video up from over the weekend. So if you guys haven't seen that yet,
This is the
I've got,
2020
again,
Tesla
my
Model
volume
Y.
control. What is
And
wrong with me? I got to get that volume thing under control. But yeah, I go through the Model Y and getting rid of our Ford Edge. So yeah, that latest episode is up on the channel as well. So go check that one out. And I'm sure we'll do a tech charge later this week with Martin. We're going to update on his trip out to Florida and how he did with his EverCharge, and check in on Jace. So yeah, more turned down for Watt, more Bow family EV. Lots of great stuff from Worksport. So thank you guys all for tuning in. And Steven, any last words of wisdom for the folks before we let you go?
Yeah, the only wisdom I can impart is pay close attention on with us being made in America on where your retail dollar comes from. It's that bronze, silver, and gold is important to us and as a country. 350 million people. As much as you can buy something that's made in America with materials that are sourced within America, that goes so far into these, Josh in Jackson, Tennessee, like that little town out there. A lot of the people just work for those painting lines, and those painting lines are painting American metal. So, keep your dollar here, and that'll pay dividends.
It's not always the cheapest that's the best as far as products and offerings. I mean, you get reliability, you get better standards over time, especially when there's just a natural tendency for foreign made products to end up being of less quality. And that's something that matters when you buy and invest in infrastructure that's going to be a part of your vehicle for a series of times. Do you want, products and systems and things that are manufactured here that are going to last and that are going to be reliable, or do you want experience that might be good for the short run, but long term you start having issues that cost more in the long run to maintain it? So
yeah, you just got to buy it once is our thing, and that's important. So it's people in the worst place to find the opposite of what supports Made in America, sadly, is Amazon. That's where most of the stuff comes. It's like super cheap and imported. But yeah, just buy, especially during the holiday season. If we can have a Christmas tree full of gifts that are made in America gifts, that's a huge win for the entire economy.
We need more made in America and less made in China. That's a simple message, but yes.
Yeah.
Hard to do. Yeah.
Hard to do.
All right, Mr. Josh,
All
take
right.
us out of here.
Well, it's been another great episode. I said it last time. Tune in next week for more EV news and updates. I think I mean it this time, but to be
not
determined.
On Tuesday. We're not going to be able to record on Tuesday. We're going to have to do a different day next week because you got a big meeting, but we're going to figure something out next week.
Yes, we will try to post, but we have more EV news and updates coming soon. So stay tuned with Turn Down for What. Lots more coming, and we will continue to truck onwards. But for today, that is all. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to Turn Down for What. Make sure you're subscribed with your notifications on to tune in to more EV news and updates. See you next time.